The first nutrient I'm going to cover today is folate. You might also know this nutrient under the name of folic acid. It's very well known during pregnancy because folic acid or folate is associated with spinal tube defects. So low folate and folic acid might cause things like spina bifida. So getting more folate in your diet helps prevent that, as well as things like megaloblastic anemia, where your red blood cells are really big and poorly formed, and they aren't able to get enough iron and oxygen to your blood. So, different sources of folic acid or folate include your leafy greens, things like cabbage or bok choy, broccoli, and you also find it, of course, in different fortified cereals and grains. For people who have the MTHFR gene, it might be a little bit more difficult for them to activate folic acid into the form that they need. So if you're looking at your either your prenatal vitamin or a folate supplement, you'll want to look for one that has methylfolate. The next vitamin we're going to cover is vitamin B12. It's another water-soluble B vitamin, just like folate. This one is important for your blood function as well, and it's also good for brain health and some neurotransmitter development. Um, this vitamin is mostly found in animal food, so any beef, poultry, fish, eggs, dairy. Um, Fortunately, these days we've done a lot in fortification. So for people who might be vegan or vegetarian, uh, B12 is in fortified nutritional yeast and some different breakfast cereals. And if you do choose to eat any meat alternatives, they may also be fortified with B12. Now, similar to folate or folic acid, if you have that MTHFR gene that makes it difficult for you to activate B12, then you'll want to choose methylcobalamin instead of a cyanocobalamin. Next up, we have calcium. So, calcium is very important because not only are you supporting the health of your own bones, you are helping your fetus develop their bones. Calcium is an important electrolyte that helps your nervous system function, and it's also important for blood circulation. Traditionally, sources of calcium include milk and fortified milk alternatives, but you can also find calcium in fortified orange juice, different fish with the bones included, like sardines, tofu and soy milk, cheeses, as well as your leafy greens. Now, with calcium, if you do take a supplement, try to avoid taking mega doses of calcium. It's better absorbed if you're taking it in smaller doses, up to 600 milligrams. And you want to avoid taking iron at the same time. And then also, I did mention that you will find calcium in foods like leafy greens. They do contain oxalates, which make it a little bit more difficult for the calcium to be absorbed, but that shouldn't dissuade you from choosing greens to help you with your calcium intake. Next up, we have iron. Iron needs increase greatly during pregnancy because your body is producing significantly more blood to support you as well as the growing fetus. So, in order to make up for all of that extra blood, you need extra iron so that you can get oxygen transported not only to yourself, but to your growing fetus. Also, iron deficiency is very prevalent, so getting enough iron daily is very important to avoid any kind of anemia. Iron is very prevalent in meat, so red meat, poultry, and seafood, but you can also find iron in different plant-based resources such as oatmeal, beans, leafy greens, and enriched grains. If you do have low iron stores or at risk of anemia, you can actually increase your absorption of iron if you eat foods that contain acids. So that might be any kind of citrus fruits, tomatoes, or even a vinegar-based salad dressing. All of those can help increase your absorption of iron. And you do want to avoid having your big iron containing foods with things like tea, coffee, or milk, because they all contain things that actually bind to iron and make you absorb less. Now we have iodine. Iodine, you may not hear too much about, but if you have any thyroid hormone issues, you might have heard of iodine. Now, iodine helps regulate your production of thyroid hormones. So, if you do end up having low thyroid hormone during pregnancy, that can actually increase the risk of miscarriage, having a preterm baby, even having a small for gestational age baby. And iodine also supports normal brain and central nervous development, as well as overall normal growth. The main source of iodine in our diet is iodized salts, and you can also find iodine in foods like dairy, eggs, seafood, and some enriched grains. Our next nutrient of note is choline. So choline, it is very important for regular metabolism. It is used in the production of one of our major neurotransmitters, and it also supports the development of our cells. Choline is an important part of the membrane that protects all of the little organelles and things in our cells that make them work. For the fetus, it helps reduce neural tube defects, and it also supports muscle and brain development. Choline is a very prevalent nutrient, so it's very easy to get in the diet. So you can find it in different types of meats, fish, poultry, eggs, cruciferous vegetables, beans, and it's in varying amounts in a number of foods that might already be in your diet. Now we're on vitamin A. So vitamin A, you might have heard that carrots are good for your eyes. Vitamin A from a number of foods is good for your eye health, and it's important for the baby's development of organs, their immune system, and their normal metabolism that not only affects them while they're in the womb, but supports their metabolism all the way through adulthood. Now, in addition to carrots, you can find vitamin A in various red and orange fruits and vegetables. So if you like sweet potatoes or red peppers, there vitamin A is in those. Um, Vitamin A is also very high in leafy greens. The chlorophyll of the leafy greens block the color of the vitamin A, but they're still present in things like spinach. And you can find vitamin A in foods like cod, black-eyed peas, and fortified cereals. Because vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, you should eat it with fat-containing foods. The fats in your foods makes it easier for vitamin A to get absorbed into your body. But you do want to be careful with how much vitamin A that you have. Try to prioritize getting it from your food because vitamin A toxicity is more likely when you take vitamin A supplements. Our next nutrient is vitamin C. Vitamin C is a major component of collagen. Collagen is a structure that is important for the infant's developing connective tissue and joints, the building of their muscle tissue, for their bones and teeth. It also helps support their immunity development. And because vitamin C is acidic, it helps iron absorption. So, some sources of vitamin C. Of course, we know about um, tomatoes, oranges, and other citrus fruits, bell peppers, and then also surprisingly, potatoes are a source of vitamin C. So there are many fruits and vegetables out there that you can get your vitamin C from. Next up, we've got vitamin B6. Now, very similar to your other B vitamins, it's important for normal blood cells, your immune function. It's important for helping your infant metabolize proteins and carbohydrates, and it's used in the development of important neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin for mood, and GABA, which is important for sleep. Now, sources of vitamin B6 include mostly animal-based foods such as fish and chicken and beef, but you can also find it in foods like chickpeas, potatoes, bananas, and fortified cereals. So, and then next up, we have omega-3 fatty acids. So, two of the fatty acids we're going to talk about in particular are EPA and DHA. So together, both of these help reduce the risk of preeclampsia, preterm labor, can support a healthy birth weight in your infant, and it also helps with your child's brain development, normal blood flow, and kind of controlling any inflammation you might have. So omega-3s are primarily found in cold water fish like salmon and sardines. Other seafoods have omega-3s, but in slightly lower doses. And you can find omega-3s in algae like spirulina and chlorella. However, just note that they are very easily, like if you're getting supplements, they are very easily contaminated. So you might want to check the brand as well as speak with your doctor to make sure that it's safe for you to take. So now that we've covered all of that, let's talk about supplements versus food. So not only can you get your normal nutrients, your vitamins and minerals from foods, you can also get extra antioxidants and other phytochemicals that support your health. Um, that being said, it's still important for pregnant people to take a prenatal vitamin. So whenever you are choosing a prenatal vitamin, consider what works best for you. I know some people will have a stomach upset by certain prenatal vitamins, and they may choose a gummy prenatal vitamin instead. If you do choose a gummy prenatal vitamin, it's important to know that these types of vitamins typically don't contain iron, and they often have lower amounts of certain nutrients, especially certain minerals, compared to your regular capsule or pill vitamins. And if you want to reduce the stomach upset you get with supplements, make sure that you're taking it with food. And then just for general supplement safety, make sure that you always check your supplement facts label. It's very similar to a nutrition label to make sure that your supplement has enough of the vitamins that we talked about, as well as any other vitamins or and minerals that could be, a shortfall for you personally. And then you also want to choose supplements that have been third-party tested and are from trusted brands. Overall, I hope you've learned a few things today. Um, you've got hold of a lot of the nutrients that you need. They do come from all of the different food groups, so make sure to get your protein foods, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains on a regular basis. If you don't have lactose intolerance, you can always drink milk. But of course, there are dairy alternatives if they are fortified that can help you get calcium and the other nutrients that you need. Try to get your nutrition from foods first. But if you are pregnant or thinking about becoming pregnant, you get a good prenatal vitamin. And then support your immune function with things like probiotics, a little bit of seasoning of your foods, and staying hydrated and making sure that you're overall eating enough for yourself, depending on what trimester of pregnancy you're in. It's been a pleasure getting to speak to all of you out there today. Once again, my name is Marquita Lewis. So you can find me on Instagram at the Acro Dietitian. That is the word acro, ACRO, dietitian, DIETITIAN. Thank you so much.